Welcome to the very first episode of Excuse Me, where y'all send me emails about your job problems, money struggles, or your just straight up life confusion. And I break it all down with zero fluff, zero filters, and as always, no excuses. If you want to send me an email, send your emails to nepodcastofficial@gmail.com. That's N as in Nancy, E as in Echo, podcastofficial@gmail.com. And you could have a chance of getting on the show. Now, let's get into today's email. This email is from, we'll just call him Mr. Mitchell. And his email says, so I worked for a large corporation, GE Wind, before COVID. The way it works is we were split up into teams per job scope. I was on a team called Up Tower Generator Repair. I worked for them for years up until my wife broke the news to me that she was pregnant with my son. Congratulations. At the time, it was 6 weeks on, 1 week off, traveling the country. So I got transferred to a permanent position as a site tech closer to home so I could be there for my son to be born. Then COVID hit, they put out the jab mandate, so I quit. No questions asked. I was not doing it. Shortly after that, I got on with a smaller contract company and was promised the world because of my job skill and the 13 years of experience that I have. I've worked with other contract companies prior to getting on with GE. I was set to being a lead with this company, but when we get our contracts, we get them through the same team I quit to be home for my son. The manager with GE told my current company, if you put him in a truck as a lead, you will not get any more contracts through us, end quote. My manager explained it to me and told me we would work through it. Here we are a year later. I started a new team, Up Tower Gearbox Repair. Okay. I got a call from my manager asking me if I got caught with drugs on site and if that was the reason why they made the previous statement a year ago. So they're telling the company I currently work for that I was caught with drugs and was let go. Is there anything I can do? By the way, like I explained, I was never caught with drugs and I was not let go. Thank you so much for reading my email. You seem to know a lot about the ins and outs of business. I can't wait for your reply. All right. So, Mr. Mitchell, let's just talk about what this legally is, okay? Some people are going to say this is defamation, okay? Defamation is when somebody speaks false information that damages your reputation, okay? Normally, defamation is written down, okay? But since this seems to be spoken and not written, it would actually be classified as slander. And the false statement that they said, which is you were caught with drugs and let go, that is serious enough to damage your employment opportunities. You would need to take legal action for this, man. Like, to prove that it's defamation or slander, all you need to show is a false statement was made about you, okay? You could show that it was communicated to a third party, which would be your current employer. You could show that it caused harm to you, which means you lost a promotion, lost reputation, etc., and it was made negligently or maliciously towards you, okay? The other thing that this is interference with employment/contract, and that's when somebody intentionally interferes with your employment or your business relationship, okay? So if the GE manager knowingly sabotaged your leadership opportunities by spreading false info, that would qualify as interference with employment or contract, okay? Now, that's just legally. What can you do about it right now? Document everything, dude. Document everything. Start a digital or physical folder and log everything that's going on. The date your manager told you, what the GE manager said, who made the accusation, any witnesses that overheard those statements, and copies of past evaluations with companies or accommodations or emails that show your work performance. Try to discredit the drug claim, okay? Request a written statement as well. Ask your current manager if you actually trust that guy. If you don't, go above him. But ask your current manager to write a formal statement or email that confirms that the accusation was made by a GE manager, okay, and that your role was affected by it, okay? If that comes out to be untrue, then it's in your favor, right? Even if he's hesitant, dude, you need to document everything that's going on. File a complaint with GE's HR or their legal department, okay? You need to do that immediately, and you need to contact an employment attorney immediately. A lot of lawyers give free consultations, man, so look for an employment law or defamation attorney that's in your state, and if the attorney sees damages, like loss of income, loss of a job role, then they may even take it on contingency. Okay. Even if you had like a lawyer send a formal letter to GE's legal department, that might be enough to get them to retract the statement and back off of this, right? It could really hurt them. So they're also violating blacklisting laws, but I don't know what state you live in, so I don't know if that applies to you. But blacklisting laws means it's illegal for you to interfere with somebody's future employment through false statements. Okay, you can't do that, right? Seems like you were in a moral, you made a moral stand to be home for your kid. You didn't compromise your body for a mandate. That's admirable. That's great. But now there's some bitter manager that's out there spreading lies trying to keep you from leadership positions because it makes them look bad. That's retaliation and defamation, man. Like that, we can't let that stand. Now, that's me assuming that everything that you said is absolutely true. Now, maybe you left some pieces out of this. Maybe you left some pieces out of this as far as like how you were behaving within the job that you were in. Maybe you were a bad employee, but none of that really matters in the context. Even if you were a bad employee, they can't make up lies to try to get, not get you promoted within the current company that you work for, even if they do have contracts with that company. Now, do I believe that this manager has the power to stop contracts coming to another company that's making them money? And even if I did believe that, would I think that they would jeopardize the money that they're making on their contracts simply to spite you? I don't. So that manager is probably acting on his own and not representing the company's feelings about you leaving to go to another company. You definitely need to document this. This isn't your fault. Make sure you take the proper legal steps to rectify the situation, especially if it's untrue. I hope that helps. I hope you see this. And remember, man, there's no excuse to be a shitty fucking manager, man. This is a shitty manager. I don't wish this on anybody. There's no excuse to be a dickhead. Do better. Anywho, thank y'all for coming to the first episode of Excuse Me. And make sure if you guys want to possibly be on the show that you guys send in your emails to nepodcastofficial@gmail.com and let me know what's going on in your life as far as your work history stands. Till next time, man. No excuses. We out. Peace.